I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, October the 28th, brought to you in part by Norbrook. Norbrook invites you to try their generic products to save on input costs. These vet pharmaceutical products are made to the same high FDA standards for safety, efficacy, and manufacturing as the name brand or pioneer brands. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Fed markets gaining ground this week, and we talked about it earlier this week. These packers are finally showing that they need cattle, and I've heard several stories and talked to people so far this week saying that packers are showing up in the Midwest and the Northern Plains at some farmer feeder lots and places that they haven't been for 6 or 8 months, and multiple packers showing up, which is very odd, wanting to buy cattle, and some of these feedlots, these farmer feeders, are turning them down, wanting more money or wanting to finish the cattle a little bit more to get a higher grade, make them a little more attractive. But they're scrambling for cattle as much as they do anytime right now. But we're seeing the market gain quite a bit of ground, you know, $1 to mostly $2 live in the northern and southern plains, and on a dress basis it's mostly $4 higher, as it's the dress market's turn to gain some ground this week, as last week it was on the live side. But that's a good thing, and we're seeing your feeder markets higher again this week, and your feeder futures and your cash feeder cattle are going in opposite directions. Feeder board was down pretty hard on Wednesday on your back months, or just on everything except for your spot October, which is right here at maturity. But part of that was due to your corn being quite a bit higher on Wednesday, but also, you know, feeders had been up pretty good for 2 days in a row, and most of your traders just figured it was time for them to come back down. But whenever your cattle feeders see that there's that much demand for fats, and they know that we're getting kind of short on supplies here in the fourth quarter, and they know that cattle on feed numbers are down, and they see a hole in the market, they're going after them. And you know, cattle feeders, give them an inch and they'll take a mile, or give them a dollar market and they'll put $5 on your feeder cattle. But they're pretty short-memoried folks, and they're doing that again here middle of the week, and we saw some very impressive market quotes all around the circuit on Wednesday again. As we go forward here, some people and some analysts are starting to think or hope that maybe the Magoo administration will start to ease off or you know, let down a little bit on their hard stance on these vaccine mandates. We're getting close to Christmas here. Our supply chains have been interrupted. We've got empty shelves. People are going Christmas shopping, and there's empty shelves. They can't get the products that they want, and let alone food products, but other products that they're wanting, toys and just all kinds of gift things. But you know, whenever you got these ships sitting out outside the port and there's nobody there to unload them, we don't have enough trucks to haul them to where they need to go, and there's just a shortage of people working everywhere. And then if you look at these mandates coming here in less than a month, all these companies that have over 100 people working for them, they're going to have to lay all these people off that haven't had their shots yet, and that is going to bring this country to a halt. And you know, in our retail, in our restaurants, in everything, manufacturing, construction, and also in our food processing and our packing facilities, it's going to be a major crunch here, coming at a really bad time for optics and things. But we're starting to see several people thinking that they may tone that down a little bit. And it may not be for everybody. I don't know whether it's going to be for the federal employees, because we've been knowing that this is going to put a big crunch on your inspectors in your packing plants and your graders, your market news people, and all up and down the line. Every federal employee is going to be a big deal. We've seen some states outlaw these mandates. Now, nobody knows for sure who's going to win out. But you know, if the airlines don't have enough people to keep the planes going, and people are wanting to travel for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all during that time, it's not going to look real good on the current administration. But let's look at your board on Wednesday. October live cattle futures up 40 cents. Your nearby live cattle were up just a smidge. And then they kind of faded off as they went to the back months. But 127.22, and I don't think our weighted average on the 5 areas is going to be quite that much, but we are going to be on the upswing. December live cattle up 12 cents at 131.57. Going your back months of live cattle, they were down 27 to up 57. October feeder cattle were up 52, just trying to jostle right in there with what your index levels are going to be at 156.50, but you get on down from there and they were all down. November was down $1.30, 158.47, and all your back months of feeder cattle down $1.02 to down $1.65. Now I mentioned corn being higher earlier in the report there, but Wednesday your spot December corn was up 13 3/4 cents a bushel at 5.57 1/4, and we've been talking here the last month or two about corn was kind of jostling in that 5 to 5.50 range. Well, it's broke out of that now, and so now folks are thinking it's going to be somewhere around the $6 a bushel. And you think, well, have they come in and saying that you know, going to be more of it used for feed? Well, it just has a lot to do with inflation of any kind of a product, and also the demand for fuel, which if they get more of these ethanol plants back up and going full bore, you know, that would help alleviate some of the problems. But if we would have just kept pumping all the oil that we have here domestically, we wouldn't be in this shape. But your corn is starting to be a concern now, and we've gotten on the back side of our harvest. We're just about done with that. We haven't got it completely wrapped up to see how big it would be, and it's going to be close to a record or within the top 5 of a record, but still you know, we have a lot of demand for that. Let's talk about your fat cattle trade. And Wednesday was your big day on fat cattle trade. We saw Iowa move 7,600 head confirmed. Live sales from 125 to 128. And like I said, your live sales in all your 5 area regions were $1 to mostly $2 higher. 196 to mostly $2 dressed in Iowa. That's a big price because it was mostly 196 last week. Nebraska, 18,900 head confirmed on Wednesday, and live sales from 125 to 127. Dress sales 197 to mostly all $2. So good to get back up to that $2. And Kansas moved 9,200 head confirmed on Wednesday, 125 to mostly 126. Texas 4,800 head from 125 to mostly 126. So gaining ground there, and there's people turning these higher offers down. They're turning them down. They're wanting higher prices, just like what should happen. You know, they feel like they've got just a twinge of leverage here, as they know these packers must be short bottom. They wouldn't be so aggressively out there visiting them, because most of the time they never leave the plant office. But they have been out looking around more this week than any time in the recent past. Let's talk about your box beef cutout values. They were lower, but we're not expecting them to drop off much. We're expecting them to kind of stabilize right where they're at, and then start maybe gaining some ground as we get a little bit closer to the holiday season. But choice cuts on Wednesday afternoon, 283.63. That's down $1.13. Selects were down 85 cents at 261.69. Slaughter still moving at a pretty good clip here. 366,000 through Wednesday. That was 4,000 more than last week. 14,000 more than the same week a year ago. So that's a healthy slaughter there. Talk about your feeder markets and your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 5,300 head there. Really snappy sale there. I was getting texts all day from the quotes that were coming out of El Reno. Feeders selling $3 to $5 higher. Your average calves mostly steady, but your long weaned 2 and 3 rounds of shots with respiratory and pasturella and everything selling $3 to $5 higher on your calves, and that's just what they want, guys. Talk about some other big sales on Wednesday. Dodge City, Kansas, winter livestock, about 3,000 head there. Feeders were steady to $2 higher. Calves $6 to $8 higher. Pretty good market there in Dodge City. Bassett, Nebraska had a sale. Of course, that's always a barn burner. 3,200 head on offer there compared to 2 weeks ago, and we've had good gains the last 2 weeks in our feeder markets everywhere, but compared to the sale 2 weeks ago, Bassett selling $2 to $9 higher. Look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central out of Bassett, and you notice your most popular weights or the best tested weights are kind of mixed on your steers, because we're seeing big calves selling and then some long yearlings selling too, but both of them bringing real impressive quotes there. But 730 head of your 6-weight steer calves in Bassett average 649 pounds at 174.41. Your 9-weight steers is the next best tested weight. 517 head of your 9-weight yearling feeder steers in Bassett average 938 at 163.33 on your weighted average, and it was helped out big time by a stick out load of 58 head 909-pound steers in Bassett, bring 168.25. Wow. Now look at your heifers, best tested weights. 264 head of your 8-weight heifers averaged 861 at 154.62. That's steer price anywhere else, guys. 315 head of your 9-weight feeder heifers there average 947 in Bassett at 152.27. Some other stick out quotes from all around. El Reno, we talked about them earlier. They had a stick out quote on some big heavy feeders there at OKC West. 100 head weighed 1,078 pounds at 151.50. And then Winter Livestock and Dodge, we talked about them earlier. They had a stick out deal on 8-weight steers. 56 head weighed 860 pounds at $165. We talk about the Southeast, and we like to give them some love down there and some markets that we don't talk about all the time. How about Cattleman's Livestock Auction in Harrison, Arkansas? We've gotten some information from them, and it's very impressive. 74 head weighed 678 pound steers, $164 in Harrison, Arkansas, guys. How about go out further east and our furthest east bluegrass market, Bluegrass Stockyards East in Mount Sterling, Kentucky. 65 head, 811 pound steers in Mount Sterling bring 153.80. But the best quote that I saw anywhere in your Zactran top quote for the day, of course, come out of Bassett Livestock Auction, Bassett, Nebraska, in the Sandhills up there. 160 steer calves weighed 639 pounds at $185.50. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.